that it solves so many problems for Burning Abyss, and of course Denko Sekka,
Yes.
the new addition to the Shadow archetype, or at least for some players, that can suddenly turn a game around or lock down the opponent. And well, the big new card, well, it's not a new card per se, but the first time we've seen it was the Qliphort Towers so far.
Yeah. It's one that not many Qliphort players will play, simply because it's not a pendulum monster and it can't really be easily searched as easily as all of the others, of course.
The other minor innovation that we have seen in Qliphort was Jake Quincy running Laser Clip.
Yes, which we then never saw come out. So we can't really make any comment on that.
Yeah, but there was a second player in the top 8, a German guy, I don't remember the name right now, who also played Laser Clip. So maybe that is one of the secret ingredients of making the Qliphort work.
Well, being able to normal summon an extra time with Qliphort is a really powerful technique there.
All right, so here we have the opening 5 of Daniele, Stella, with a scout, the all-important scout, the most important card of the deck. Let's bring that guy up for you guys. It's a normal monster, but also a spell card. We call that a pendulum monster. And when you play it in your pendulum zone, which is a little bit like a field spell zone, but for these particular cards, for the pendulum monsters, you get the pendulum effect, and you cannot special summon monsters except Qli monsters, and this effect can never be negated, and once per turn you can pay 800 life points to search your deck for a Qli card. But Luigi is kicking things off here.
Yep, Dante has come down with the standard play for a first turn Burning Abyss, the best play generally.
And he's sending a Vanity's Emptiness to the graveyard. You call it the defining card of the format.
Yes, it's the Floodgate card, stops any sort of special summons.
Right. The card that makes sure that the opponent cannot flood the field. We, or at least the community, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe, so to speak, likes to call them floodgates. And the first time I heard this word was early yesterday morning, and I've heard it over the course of those 2 days 23 times.
Yeah.
Every other interview somebody was like, yeah, I got this floodgate, and so I'm like, okay, so it's a thing now.
Well, Floodgate cards are basically just cards that stop you playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
All right, so Luigi not playing with any cards in hand before he searched during his end phase, setting everything here. And that is a...
Okay, so he's gotten rid of the Fire Lake.
Fire Lake, yep. And
there is a Phoenix Wind Blast down there, which has been Night Beamed. This could be...
Daniele taking out the back row, the complete back row of his opponent. And now we're going to see Qliphort Scout.
And Scout pays 800.
Yep. And also one thing, like these upstart goblins, they tend to be hurting yourself in a way when your opponent gets more life points, and then he can get another search from the Qliphort Scout, for example.
Yes. I mean, it used to be that people weren't playing Upstart Goblin due to Soul Charge being very, very big in the format, especially being set at 3. But now that there's actually only one Soul Charge allowed in a deck at any one time at the moment, people thought that it was safe to come back. It wasn't safe to go back into the waters.
So what's going to be the follow-up for Daniele here?
I'm not too sure. There could be a lot of different things that they're kind of looking for at the moment. The Sacrifice, probably one of the better cards to get at this moment in time.
So there is the Sacrifice. Is he going to start attacking? Or is he going to continue setting up some pendulum plays here?
I mean, the best thing that he's probably going to do is what he's doing now, which is summoning the disc, twickering it with the Sacrifice, using it to attack over the Skarm. Skarm is going to get the effect at the end of the turn, but that doesn't seem to bother him too much.
Nope.
Now, that, of course, means that if that disc is going to get destroyed, he's going to get a search, so even if the Scout leaves the field, he doesn't have to worry too much. He's still definitely going to be able to search and set up some more plays later on.
And he's got a Vanity's Emptiness face down, the card we mentioned before. So this could prove a problem for Luigi if he doesn't find something to destroy it. Because if there's one thing that Burning Abyss does well, it's special summoning a bunch of monsters all in one turn.
Yes, it is. Now, that Dante can just be a little bit bigger than the disc.
And Luigi having so many Malebranche in the hand, he's missing something to be able to discard them. Like a card like Phoenix Wing Windblast, for example, or Karma Cut.
He can, however, just, well, attempt to special summon them. But I assume that when one goes down, that Vanity's Emptiness is going to see play.
And he's going through his deck real quick. Just checking what options he still has available to him.
He's just playing Vanity's Emptiness straight up. He's not even leaving it to chance.
I think deck destruction is a real thing in this format, with Burning Abyss milling half the deck to the graveyard anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to see that next time after we've seen Nurse Reficule this weekend. Alright, so Dante is going to attack after the Vanity's Emptiness got activated. But in case you're wondering why that monster is staying on the field, that Qliphort disc right there, that's the effect of sacrifice. Alright, so Luigi just going for a more conservative approach here, setting another monster, and play is then back to Daniele. And giving the Qliphort deck time is something you do not want to do.
Not really. I mean, what he could have done there was try attacking the disc, getting rid of the Vanity's Emptiness, but still getting search off of that sacrifice there. Although, he would have then been able to special summon a lot of his Malebranches. And I believe he's got a Rubik in hand as well. Yep,
yes.
Which means he could have essentially just gone Virgil, and Virgil returning the scout back to the deck. That was one possible play for him.
So how aware is Daniele that he needs to keep this Vanity's Emptiness on the field?
He doesn't necessarily need to keep the Vanity's Emptiness on the field. It's actually hurting him more than it's hurting Luigi there, yeah. Right. No, it's hurting Luigi more than it's hurting Daniele, sorry. Daniele is fine keeping that Vanity's Emptiness on the field because you can just keep normal summoning.
Right, so the two cards in hand that he's shuffling frantically are the disc and the scout. Another copy of scout. Sometimes you actually see players activating a second scout.
Sometimes.
But it's not what you prefer to do.
No. No, it's nice to get that last little bit of search off just to be able to pop off.
Yeah. And it's also not that you can, because you can actually do that with field spell cards, that you can tribute one that you have on the field to play another one. This is not possible with the Burning Abyss, with the Pendulum Monsters.
Yeah.
So no easy way to get a second activation.
There's a skill drain.
And yeah, skill drain, one of these age-old cards that are making a comeback in this format. There was a time when skill drain as a deck archetype was a real thing with Beast King Barbaros,
yes,
and Fugilia Dragon. And back then there weren't that many monsters. I think those were the only two monsters that you can easily summon, and that would get up to 2,800 attack with a skill drain on the field.
Very easily. Now, looking at it, he's just tributed the disc there to send two of the sacrifices to the graveyard, getting essentially 3 searches this turn. He is going to be able to, I believe, looking at what's in his extra deck there face up. It's just the disc, is it not?
Yeah, it should just be the disc. But he's also going to get the effect of the shell, right?
Yes, because he did tribute it, so he can attack twice and deal piercing damage.
So you mentioned this before. This is the alternate win condition of the Qliphort archetype.
Yeah, it's basically if you can't really special summon, which is what your win condition is with the disc, is basically being able to bring out a lot of other guys, being able to play shell, and just attacking twice for 2,800 as well, which is huge. Now, just had to explain to Luigi why all those searches were happening and why Vanity's Emptiness was in the graveyard there. Now, that looks like he's searched for 2 carriers there.
Yep. So let's bring up his hand.
He's playing in the pendulum zone.
And
he's looking for a pendulum summon of, well, he's going to be able to get out 2 carriers, a disc, a scout. Yeah, there we go.
That is an impressive field.
That is impressive.
If I've ever seen one.
And the piercing. Attack directly.
Yeah,
and attack directly.
He just has to declare an attack, and Luigi, well, knows what's coming.
It's simple as that. I mean, Qliphort is just such a huge, I'm going to win in one turn.
Yeah, it's such a swingy deck, really.
It comes from nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, we could see that, but Luigi couldn't.
No.
He was, unfortunately for him, he didn't draw any trap cards to defend himself here. So very little interaction for him to defend himself against this big player of the Qliphort deck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at just seeing if I caught what was being sided in there. I believe that he's thrown in the Monarch Storm 4th and the Shadowing Imprisoning Mirrors, which, yeah, he's going to definitely work out for him there. I mean, we already talked about Luigi's side deck choices earlier.
He's also playing the Ochama trio that we have seen quite often this weekend in the side deck.
No, he's got 3 Twister as well, which is just going to be a nice little extra bit of removal. The enemy controllers and the Caius.
What about the Majesty's Fiend?
The Majesty's Fiend would be very helpful in this situation. It's not going to stop a scout, and the activated effects of Qliphort monsters are after the tributed, so you're still getting big monsters out regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, Majesty's Fiend isn't going to stop a sacrifice.
So less useful than against some of the rogue decks. Something that we have seen yesterday, where Sona Günger, for example, was going up against Oliver Lucenda in the very last round that we played yesterday, round 8. And in the first game, Oliver Lucenda had a Herald of Ultimateness.
Ultimateness, yeah. The Herald of Ultimateness.
And he had this gigantic monster with 3,000 def, and there was nothing that Sona could do, really. He was just waiting for that moment when he could push through with a Black Luster Soldier. And then suddenly Oliver finds a Soul Charge to bring back 4 monsters.
And then just...
that was just game. However, the second and the third duel, Sona was able to summon a Majesty's Fiend on the very first turn.
Yeah, immediately. And just go, well, you're not going to be able to do anything now.
Yeah, and both games, Oliver was completely locked out of the game because of that one card. It's better at saying no than the Herald.
Yeah, than the Herald, no. Yeah.
That was the big game of saying no. Who can scream louder? All right, so Daniele with the advantage, but if I remember correctly, when we had Luigi on the stream yesterday, he also lost the first game. Oh no, that's not true. He went up against Omar Sabedin. Actually, we had him on the stream today. It's all a blur. It was the last round of Swiss, and it was, if Luigi wins, he makes the top 32, and if he loses, he's out. And he had a perfect back row with 3 copies of Diffusion in the second game to make sure that Omar, who was playing Burning Abyss, who was playing Shadol, yeah, of course, Shadol, could never deal any damage with his big fusion monsters.
Well, let's see what's in hand there. So, Daniele Stella has the Skill Drain, Qliphort Helix, Sacrifice, Compulsory Evacuation device there, and a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, which he's sided in for this.
Yeah, not that surprising. Some players went as far as main decking it, because they expect to play against dark monsters half the time anyway.
We've got a Rubik, 2 Graphs, a Seer, and a Twister. And there's an unsurprising first move.
So I'm predicting a Dante hitting play.
Dante's just come out there. And that would be a Graph sent to Graveyard. Also a Rubik, meaning that a Seer can now hit the... oh, actually, no, he did just special summon the Seer. That is unfortunate. So his comes down the Scum.
Yep. And
Seer there.
Let's bring up Dante for you guys. The Traveler of the Burning Abyss. He went through quite a few ordeals of a Traveler to end up where he's in now. And yeah, he's the most important card in the Burning Abyss deck. And that's the second activation for the second Dante. 2 copies now on Luigi's side of the field. And he sets a Twister Has a graph in hand, and now he goes searching for the effects of those discarded Malebranche. So the big question is, can Daniele again assemble such a big field?
Not on the first turn.
He's missing the scout.
Yeah.
For starters. And also the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is not going to do that much against Dante because that is a light monster.
That's correct. Night Beam is getting rid of the Twister. So that's not going to be as much an issue later on.
So he's definitely going to be able to flip the skill drain and get something out of it, at least from judging by the cards that Luigi is holding on to so far.
Actually, that's a very interesting one, because if he waits with the skill drain until Dante is trying to attack into that helix there.
That would be pretty big. But isn't it something like an obvious bluff?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. All right. So, well, I think with the sacrifice that he equips to his card, it doesn't look as much of a bluff. Because he's just like, yeah, it's going to stay on the field. It cannot be destroyed by battle. And Daniele waiting and biding his time. This is interesting that
discarding all of his seers immediately.
Would it have been a good idea to flip? Since
there's the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror.
Yeah, since Luigi is not getting anything out of the monsters that were sent to the graveyard, he really doesn't need to flip the skill drain, and also it doesn't prevent Dante from sending cards to the graveyard anyway.
Well, it really depends whether he wants. It's more if Dante tries to attack into that helix.
Yeah, that would be
drain,
a very big play.
Increase it to 2,700 attack.
But I think that Luigi might go for a Tour Guide first. And I think that Tour Guide will be met with the skill drain.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that he goes for Tour Guide in main phase 2? Oh my god, he is. And
he's just letting the damage happen. That's not a problem, because now he's waiting just to see what happens in main phase 2.
So he's saving the skill drain. Also, in a way, he's telegraphing, I don't have a skill drain by doing that.
Yeah, kind of.
And Luigi might be falling for that. No, he's not. He's just playing it safe. Very interesting. All of these choices that Daniele doesn't decide to flip the skill drain.
But again, Luigi is letting it go long against Qliphort. And since he doesn't have anything in the pendulum zones there, it does mean that he can just bring out a rank 4.
Happens very, very rarely.
Yeah. I mean, he's really thinking about it.
What did he draw into?
He drew into a carrier.
Ah, okay.
So carrier is coming down. Carrier is 4.
Wow, we've seen Exceed summon from a Qliphort deck.
Yeah.
That's the first time this weekend. So something that we should bring up again.
Castel. Castel completely.
Castel is amazing against Dante because it denies it the effect to...
He finally has the scout as well.
Yeah, to search something from... bring back something back from the graveyard, because Dante doesn't get destroyed, doesn't get sent to the graveyard. And this is really interesting. Daniele's play was flawless in my opinion. He's not going for that premature skill drain.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, he's able to return one of those Dantes back to the deck now. And just completely stop it.
Yeah.
His tracks.
Very interesting. So he's down on 6,
and there's
8.
2 back to the deck.
And still, Luigi is now wondering what are the face down cards for Daniele. He might be expecting a Vanity's Emptiness, I think.
It's very possible. He is able to pendulum summon. I don't believe that the pendulum monsters would have gone to the graveyard if they're detached as materials. But I'm not too sure on that one. That's
I'm not
any ruling.
100% either. So a graph is being special summoned, and
a graph's being special summoned there, as is another graph. Just really thinking about what. Just really thinking, what rank 3s am I going to play? And possibly, am I going to play my skill drain right now? Or am I going to wait a little second?
Yeah, that's the thing. Still no Vanity's Emptiness, so Luigi can't help but wonder, what is the back row card, or what are the back row cards that Daniele has? So here we go again. It's a Book of Moon.
Oh, and that is a wind-up Zen Maidens, which isn't going to matter.
Ooh,
He's going to attack straight into that Castel, and then, wait a second, interesting. At that point, I would have definitely flipped the skill drain to make sure that I wasn't getting destroyed.
I mean, Luigi does take some damage from the attack. And the thing is, if you don't flip skill drain, Luigi might have play proceed with the end phase. Otherwise, he might still go for a tour guide or something. Well, he does have the Mystical Space Typhoon, which is really, really bad news for Daniele. So if Luigi holds on to that Mystical Space Typhoon, doesn't set it, and then he advances to the end phase. If Daniele would then flip the skill drain, which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, Luigi could still activate the Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yes.
So
let's just see what happens here.
Yeah, there are so many options here.
Quite a few. It's also a compulsory evacuation device.
Compulsory prior to the end phase.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
Very interesting. I like how Daniele is not giving away that he has the skill drain. So it's still main phase 2 because Luigi wanted to advance to the end phase. So basically what you're doing is you're saying, I want to advance to the end phase, I don't have any more action going, any more effects. And the play doesn't simply proceed with the end phase, rather than that, the other player gets a chance to do something. And this is when Daniele just flipped the compulsory, and this is why we're still in main phase 2. Alright, so Luigi is done with his turn, it seems. And
yeah, he's just
Daniele is going searching again with Qliphort Scout.
And that's getting the sacrifice there. And he's tributing. Wow. He's tributing the Castel for the carrier, equipping it with the sacrifice, and just simply attacking straight over the Downed Magician. And is Downed Magician a dark monster? Or is it a light monster, sorry?
Downed Magician. Let's bring that card up for you guys.
I believe it's a light monster. No, it's dark, so its effect was negated in the first place, so it was still on 2,100 attack.
So that means a little bit more damage that Luigi has to take here.
Although, sorry, is it activated effects shown in Prism Mirror?
Yes.
Yes, so I don't believe that would be the case.
Yes, there is no semicolon in the card text, so it's a continuous effect. Similar to Shinzo, which is one of the cards that some people have been playing this weekend.
Yes.
So the old cards really making a reappearance.
And that graveyard is already massive. Or is that the deck? I can't tell anymore.
It's so confusing sometimes.
Well, it's got Xyz monsters in it, so it must be the graveyard.
Must be the graveyard. Yeah, and there we see the Twisters. All of these cards, or half of these cards, being sent there with the effect of the Dantes.
Okay, so Dante grabbing that Seer back to hand.
Yeah, he's a gold digger, and he was digging through that deck quite fast, and he found quite a few treasures. So Luigi drawing for his turn here. That's Mystical Space Typhoon in his hand, together with a tour guide from the Underworld, and 2 Malebranche of the Burning Abyss.
Yeah, that's a Night Beam that he's got set there as well, just as a bluff card, I would assume.
Yeah. I think he just wants to make sure that if Luigi goes for some sort of removal, that he doesn't hit the skill drain. And I don't think that's too unlikely that Luigi would go for the second card, because the skill drain has been sitting there forever.
Yeah.
And Daniele didn't flip it. So Luigi might not feel threatened by that card and instead go for the other card. if he were to activate his Mystical Space Typhoon.
I get a feeling that at this point, the Shadowing Imprisoning Mirror is one of these main targets. He currently can't really do anything with any of the cards in his hand. I mean, he can bring out one... He can bring out a Dante, but then no graveyard effects would happen. Okay, so he's bringing them both out in defense, really thinking, do I go for this?
Yeah, so far no response from Daniele. Is he still waiting for that Vanity Sentinels, maybe? But I think there were plenty of opportunities for Daniele to flip a Vanity Sentinels, so... Luigi might have a pretty clear read on what his opponent is holding on to. There's Book of Moon.
Book of Moon to stop the Xe summon.
And that means that Luigi is left with a tour guide from the underworld and a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Now, of course, because that monster was flipped face down, it's no longer a
Burning Abyss monster.
Burning Abyss monster, and because that is a continuous effect, Seer is destroyed.
So the Book of Moon is actually a 2-for-1.
It is, yes.
Well, the other card isn't destroyed, but it's slightly less useful when it's face down.
Yeah.
And why is the MST not getting activated on the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror now?
I think that he still thinks that there's something there. I mean...
so I think that was a good read from Luigi Alici. Oh, he's playing... Oh, this is going to hurt. There's going to be
not quite sure why he didn't...
there's no skill drain.
No. Okay. Although, interestingly, I think he's waiting to see him get the Dante out, and the Dante
there
then
is no
be negated.
Skill drain on the field, according to our app. Did it get destroyed? Did we miss that?
I didn't see it get destroyed.
So maybe there was a mix-up with the cards in the app?
There must be.
Okay, because that's really the only reason why he never activated the card.
Yeah.
Or it got destroyed, I'm not sure. Alright, so no skill drain. Sorry for that. We did have it on the app at one point. So that puzzle has been solved. And there we see an attack from Luigi with, again, a wind-up Zenmains. Used to be a very, very important card. And we don't see it as many. We actually almost never see it these days.
Not really. I mean, he's using it to get rid of the scout there. See what he's drawn into.
Yeah, so Daniele's got a Night Beam in hand and a Mystical Space Typhoon. Let's just make that 2 Mystical Space Typhoons.
Really not helping him right now.
Yeah, he needs to find a way to get rid of the carrier. Or, well, I mean, he could destroy his own sacrifice. Is that going to be a good play?
Yes, because then he'd be able to go and get a scout.
And then the scout could, of course...
go and get something else, and then...
And with 6,800 life points, that doesn't seem like the worst plan. He also does have some face-up pendulum monsters in his extra on top of his extra deck, right?
Something that he could definitely do here is make a 101 Silent Honor Arc. He does go for the scout.
No surprise so far.
That's messed up the idea of him going for the Xe summon then.
That's true, yes. This is the...
or he could tribute carrier for a carrier.
There is the scout. So no more special summons except Klee monsters.
Okay, it looks like he's going for the tribute carrier for carrier play to bounce Zenmains back to the extra deck.
That seems like a very good play to me.
Yeah, that's a very good play.
It's also a setup for Pendulum Summon later on.
Of course.
Now, in case you're wondering, since you... well, maybe you can catch a glimpse of the graveyard of Daniele. He also has some Qliphorts in the graveyard, which doesn't happen that often, but they were detached because we saw an Exceed summon of the Qliphort monsters earlier, which is very rare, and they do get sent to the graveyard then.
Really mulling over his choices here. Do I get out a Helix or do I get out a carrier?
And that is the second carrier.
Is he just put both of those on the field? Especially because one of them is actually remembering now a 6-star. Make sure there's a proper shuffle there of his opponent's deck.
And there's the bounce. He sets the Night Beam as a bluff again. And play is back to Luigi, who really needs to draw something here. With just a Scar Malebranche of the Burning Abyss face down on his side of the field. And Daniele has already won the first game, so there is a chance that this is already the last game.
Ooh, and Raigeki hits the field. Skarm, of course, not actually being able to do anything there. So what's he drawn into here?
Raigeki buying Luigi a little bit of time, but Daniele, you can tell that he's suddenly playing faster again. He immediately writes down 800 life points because he's going to search for that scout. And
no, what he's going to get here is a disc. Disc has got 1 on its pendulum scales there, so I believe he's thinking, I could definitely pendulum summon at this point. What was it that he's got face down? He's got a Night Beam there, and he's got a Vanity's Emptiness in his hand.
Yep.
Now he knows his opponent's only on 5,000 life points, so he's really thinking, what can I get away with here?
Yeah, there is an opening here.
Now, just see if he remembers that is. I think he's just counting the amount of tour guides that are in the graveyard there. And I believe that the count is 3.
But with the Vanity's Emptiness, that he can then, after he has assembled his field, flip face up, there's very, very little that Luigi is going to be able to do. So first he has to take a lot of damage here.
So that's 1,800 and 1,000. Actually, they're all gaining plus 300 attack from the Qliphort disc there. Vanity's Emptiness being set, and a Skarm is going to go and fetch something out.
Yeah, and again, this is not the deck list of Daniele. No, this is his field. Something we see quite often with the Qliphort deck, where you're wondering, like, wow, how come that there are so many cards on the table?
Yeah. Now, he's got a Rubik there to hand. I think what he's really hoping for is he draws any of his Burning Abyss monsters there to be able to special summon.
Virgil.
And, yeah, special summon any of his other Burning Abyss monsters with it.
But the big problem is that Luigi needs... He drew into... That's a spell card?
Yeah, I don't think it helps currently.
Let's find out. No, it's definitely not a monster. Otherwise we would have seen some other play.
Yeah, it is a spell card, just waiting there.
So he's set Skarm... Rubik Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. And I think that concludes his turn, doesn't it?
Yep, and that also...
Twister. So he can get rid of the scout, but if he gets rid of the scout, he loses another 500 life points. And with such an impressive field...
Yeah, I think he's... oh, actually, none of his monsters can currently get rid of the... Actually, yes, they can. Well, they're all on 21... Sorry, just doing math. No, they're all on 2100 attack, so none of those monsters can actually destroy Rubik currently.
And with the scout now gone, they are falling, right?
Let's see what it's drawn into. If that's any of his larger monsters, he's essentially won this turn.
Yeah. Never before have these 2,100 death been so relevant, haven't they?
Although it is also possible that he's just drawn something like he's just drawn a Mystical Space Typhoon, so he's thinking, get rid of my own disc, special something, summon something from there. Look at that. He's looking at his extra deck thinking, I can actually summon something from here.
Yeah, this is always scary when the Qliphort player starts looking through his extra deck. You're like, what? How in the world is this happening to me? And the top card is, of course, a Gaga Cowboy.
Yeah, it wouldn't quite do it.
Nope. There would be 300 life points remaining for Luigi. And but interesting that Daniele immediately identified that line of play, of course. So this is his deck, his field at the moment with the Vanity's Emptiness and the Night Beam. And he takes another look.
He's really thinking about it. He knows that it's a Rubik, but he doesn't quite understand. I don't think he realizes that Rubik is 2,100 defense.
There's an attack.
Okay. So I think he was just testing to make sure. Okay, main phase 2.
He's going for that.
He's turned his scout to defense, and he's playing a black ship of corn, making sure that that Rubik is face up so that he can send it to the graveyard.
That's a good line of play, in my opinion. Now, Luigi again
and
needs
he also
to
then
draw
loses
something.
1,000 life points as well.
UBO for Luigi. What did he draw? We can't see it quite now. There's the black ship of corn. Let's bring that up.
It's a foolish burial, which is actually going to be a bit used. No, he's not. He's looking through his deck and he's like, I don't have anything in here. Oh, he is not happy.
And that is it. Daniele Stella with